Well, welcome everybody to the first podcast of Landscape Northeast. And I'm sitting here with Jeremy Wright from ZinCo. Thank you for being our first guest on the show, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me in, Chris.
No problem. So we just wanted to give a little bit of feedback on green roofs, sort of how you got introduced to them, how you see the market changing and evolving in 2019 and 2020.
So I actually started in green roofs as a contractor. Me and a couple of my best friends from university, we wanted to start a green roofing contracting business out in Guelph, Ontario. All of us came from more of an economics and finance background, but we became obsessed with the idea and concept of green roofs. We'd seen a couple on the campus at Guelph, which ended up actually being my current owner's projects as well. And so we thought that green roofs were a quantifiable method of sequestering carbon. And so we did a research project in university about carbon sequestering in green roofs. At the time, really didn't know much more other than the contracting side of it and what sort of structural capacity you needed to have for the roofs to bear the weight of a green roof.
Okay.
So we started this business as a side business. I was in a different company. I was actually in the CPG industry, so I was working for a large CPG manufacturer, and we had this side business that we were starting to sell some residential projects. It wasn't full time; it was really just cash work on weekends. But then I had met my owner, Yella Vonk, from ZinCo at the building show, and we were actually previously buying a different product before. And ZinCo had come up in some of my research in university, and then seeing it firsthand at a building show, I really understood why you do green roofs that way. And then my owner, Yella, simply put, he was one of the best guys I talked to about it, and I still have the note on my phone with asterisks beside it. Talk to this guy about a sunroof project. And basically about a year later, when one of the projects was coming to fruition, we had to buy some product, and then ended up going on the ZinCo website, and they were hiring, and I knew kind of right then and there that was what I was going to do. So 2 weeks later, I quit my job and started working for ZinCo. And so so through that, ZinCo is a German company. We're the Canadian partnership, and my owner has had a lot of experience from the Netherlands. That's where he originally started in green roofs. So I've learned from him how to do green roofs the proper way, all the different options that you can do with rooftop amenity space, and I've kind of just been his right-hand man. And actually, my buddy that I started the business with, he now works for us as well. He's another business development representative. Nice. So he handles kind of Toronto and East, and I handle kind of Toronto and West. So that's how I got into the industry. Definitely loving every minute of it so far, but there's a lot more to learn. So
And so for the trends that you've seen in the last few years, tell me a little bit about your relationship with the landscape architecture community.
Yeah, it's been a pretty steep learning curve for sure. Obviously being a little bit biased because I was buying from a previous supplier, and then I found ZinCo product. I'm starting to see a lot more trends with green roofs. Green roofs have always been kind of seen as a sunk cost for developers and building owners, where they're just trying to maintain whatever bylaw or stormwater management requirements they have. And what we're starting to see more as the rooftop as an investment. So it's actually providing tangible returns for tenants inside of the building, as well as your carbon sequestering capabilities, as well as your energy benefit, but more so providing usable space. And that's where the trend is moving, right? Our cities are expanding pretty rapidly. And what we need to do is make our rooftops a lot more productive and usable, instead of just having a blank space of unused area. Right?
That makes sense, yeah. So they previously been mechanical space up there and nothing else, but now it's actually become amenity space.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And I think that trend's going to increase a lot more. So from the landscape architect side of things, there's a lot more return in having a good landscape architect that's thinking about the roof space as an investment opportunity for whoever the client is. And creating these really, really well-integrated hardscaping and green roof spaces that people can actually enjoy, rather than just have the plants on the roof that no one can see.
Right.
Another trend that we're seeing a lot of is we're doing a lot of rooftop agriculture. So producing. Yeah, that's one of the things that we really focus on. It's providing a solution, not necessarily a full solution, but a partial solution to some of the food security issues we have, especially in Toronto.
Yeah.
While all the time, the whole point of the green roof is to manage your stormwater, right? So delay that peak flow of a rain event, let the water cistern tanks catch up. Productive urban agriculture rooftops are really cool, and it's great to see people actually, harvesting vegetables from a rooftop.
I hadn't thought of that part of it.
Yeah, there's a lot more coming up, especially with low income areas, like low income proposals we deal with a lot. Because a lot of those people just don't have they don't have the income to go out and get fresh produce, and it's kind of a two-part problem. You have our urbanized areas are becoming much more expensive, and on the outskirts of our cities, we're actually taking away a lot of farmland.
Right.
So
that makes sense. Yeah.
Produce is actually going up quite a bit as well.
What type of produce do you typically see on a green roof?
Well, the first project that we did this summer, it's a brewery in Leslieville, Aveling Brewery.
Okay.
The owner, Max Megan, who's a really, really amazing guy, he wanted to have a circular kind of economy within his roof, so he uses like leafy greens and a lot of a lot of the vegetables you commonly see on a farm. He actually incorporates it into his restaurant food. Leafy greens are definitely the easiest. You can grow those in about 4 inches of growing media. Ryerson Urban Farm, which is a very old rooftop farm.
Yeah.
They actually have full scale production, right? So they're actually doing corn and tomatoes and squash, and you name it, they've probably grown it there. But obviously you got 12 inches of growing media, so it's a lot different.
Right.
Our most recent farm, the second phase of rooftop farm at Ryerson, it's going to be about 8 inches of growing media. So they're going to focus primarily on leafy greens.
Okay.
But honestly, a lot of the food,
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the times it's a little bit more cost effective than your typical decorative plants or.
Yeah. Well, and two, you've got someone from an outside community moving into a city that kind of misses having their garden and everything else. They can still have access to it up on their rooftop space. That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, especially with seniors.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our projects now are retirement homes, older people. If they're going to be kind of stuck in one place, it's pretty amazing to see them get the benefit of gardening. Biophilic design, it's known to extend people's lives now. We know the benefit that plants have on people's lives. So this stuff should be incorporated into, most designs at this point.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really cool seeing that. Low income is where we're focused for sure. We want to provide some solution to, some pretty serious crisis. But it's amazing because you'll start to see landscape architects just, with a roof space, they can pretty much do anything now. Like the products are there, it's just kind of making the design come to fruition.
Right.
And finding the right client that's willing to go that extra mile and, provide some real productive amenity space. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
That's great. Anything else you'd like to add on where you see the growth of the industry or anybody new coming into the market that haven't considered green roof applications?
For sure. I think where the market's going to go is water harvesting and a blue roof technology. So that's creating water cisterns on top of the roof as opposed to large tanks in the basement. We can actually shrink the tanks and make them manage a lot more water on the roof. Active controls on irrigation and cistern tanks is where we push most of our clients. It's a lot more return on investment. And then the incorporation of renewables into your green roofs as well. So solar panels.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's quite easy to do so at this point. Solar panels should be on most rooftops at this point anyways.
Right.
Just overall more productive green spaces and more enjoyable green spaces as well.
Perfect. Thanks very much.
No problem.
Congratulations on being the first guest on the Northeast Landscape podcast.
Excited. Looking forward to seeing who else you bring on.
That's great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Chris.